Your team sends countless emails and makes calls, but the deals aren't just closing. Now, we've discovered that 44% of reps give up just before the magic happens, leaving 70% higher conversions on the table. So, how do you fix this? Well, look, my name is Jason James. Over the last 10 years, I've taken what I learned in psychiatric nursing and applied it into sales. And I've personally gone on to close over 22 million in sales myself. And my clients have gone on to close over 200 million using what I call the invisible sales method. So let's break it down in this video why most sales reps are quitting too early. Now, I always teach people, instead of banging on about scripts, start learning human behavior. Now, not only do you want to study other people, but you want to study yourself first. And one of the principles that I teach people are there are two types of psychology that you need to be aware of when you're selling to people. There's your own psychology, and then there's your prospect psychology. Now, interestingly enough, we're all human and we all process information in the same way. However, each of us have our preferred ways of diverting information through our heads. We've all got different values, all different beliefs, all different experiences. So it's important that we understand ourselves as well as our prospects. Now, look, in my nursing days, we were taught very, very early on to analyze what the patient is saying, but also how are they behaving. That's really, really important. But interestingly enough, what I realized was that the nurses that were doing really well, as in they were able to engage with patients really well, they were able to have confident conversations with them. They were able to help them to take their treatment, because in the psychiatric settings, a lot of patients don't want to take meds, right? I mean, who would want to take meds that make you fall asleep? Like, nobody wants to take that stuff. So it's important that you look at how can I help this person to buy into taking the treatment, right? So the nurses that were doing well, including myself, were the ones that were also good with themselves. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. You see, if I didn't have confidence in myself, if I don't have self-worth, if I don't have self-belief, if I don't have love, care, compassion, if I didn't genuinely want to help the patient, then I wouldn't actually step up and have courageous conversations when they're screaming in your face. Because the nurses that didn't do too well were the ones who were either scared by the patient or had poor self-worth or low self-esteem and a lack of confidence and an inability to just have a courageous conversation with the patient about what's right. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, in sales, it's exactly the same thing. Most reps who are quitting too soon are already losing before they go into the conversation. Let me explain what I mean. Now, in my invisible sales method, I talk about this in the first stage. The first stage of my system is called cultivate. This is where 80% of the magic is done before you actually sell. And one of the things that you've got to look at in the cultivation stage is you as an individual. Okay. What does that really mean? Well, look, here's the thing. If you go into a sales conversation thinking that the prospect is going to think that you are pushy, when you jump onto the call, what do you think you're going to see? You're going to start looking for signs for that prospect reaffirming that you are a pushy person. So if they cross their arms, or if they don't smile at you, or they frown, or they sigh over something that you say, you're going to your brain's going to go, I see. I told you they're going to think I'm pushy. Now, what's happening is if you go into a sales conversation with some kind of negative connotation in your mind, or some kind of negative belief, like they're not going to like me, they're going to think it's too expensive, they're going to think I'm being pushy, or whatever it is, that you're going to project that onto the prospect. And here's what happens psychologically. In your brain, something called your RAS, your reticular activating system, fires off. Okay, this is like a heat-seeking missile. It finds whatever it's looking for. So, for example, if I asked you right now to go outside and count how many red cars drive by down the road, when you came back, I'm guessing you would be able to tell me how many. However, if I said to you, hey, can you let me know how many blue cars did you see whilst you were out there too? You probably won't remember because you weren't looking for them. And that's what's happening with your RAS when you go into a sales call with, they're going to think it's expensive, they're going to think I'm pushy, they're not going to like me, or whatever. Your RAS is actually looking for any signal to confirm this. So when sales reps who are quitting too soon go into these conversations, they already have quit before they've started. They've already had a bad run. They've already had no's. They've already had people slam the phone on them. They've already had people ghost them. They've already had no-shows. They've already had it. So they're going into this call with like, oh, this person's not going to be interested because the last person wasn't interested, blah, 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 blah. So what do they start doing? They start looking for signs to reaffirm what's happening, because their unconscious mind is basically going, hey, listen, dude, be mindful. When you're on that call, that person isn't going to like you, man, because the last person didn't like you. So what you're consciously looking for are conscious triggers or conscious signals to reaffirm what your unconscious pattern is already telling you. So if you're consciously seeing someone look like, and I say look like because it doesn't mean that they really are, look like they don't like you, and your unconscious mind is going, hey, people aren't going to like you when you try and sell to them, it marries the two up and it sends that signal to your unconscious mind and goes, hey, look, I told you so. I told you they're not going to like you. And then the sales rep gets deflated during the call and then they quit too soon. Because just like with my patients, when I used to have bold, courageous conversations with them, because I knew what's right. And remember, leaders do what's right, not what's easy. I used to have bold conversations with them because I knew deep down in my heart, I knew what was right. No matter how much they gave me their objections as to why they want to take that treatment, as a nurse, I knew what would happen if they just stuck with me, because I've rehabilitated so many patients back into the community, back into their jobs, back to their families. I knew, hey, listen, hold my hand, take my hand. I got you. We're going to do this together. If it weren't good with myself, if I went into that conversation looking for reasons why they're going to say no, and then it reaffirmed my unconscious behavior that I'm not good at my job, blah, 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 I would have quit. But when you go into a sales conversation with a different RAS going on, not one going, hey, listen, I'm going to look for reasons why they're going to think it's too expensive. They're not going to like me. They're going to think I'm pushy. They're going to think I'm sleazy. They're going to be a cheapskate, whatever it is. When you go in with those negative things, you find them. So interestingly enough, if you can look for negatives, could you also look for positives? Absolutely. Of course you can. It's the same, exactly the same thing. So instead of getting your RAS to look for negative signals, what you should be getting your RAS to look for are positive signals. And that instead is going, hey, this person is going to buy from me. This person has a problem I can solve. This person knows that they're coming onto this call because they have a problem that they want to resolve, and I'm going to do everything I can to serve this person because this person has the ability to buy, otherwise they wouldn't be on this call. And then you start looking for reasons why they're going to say yes. Now, anytime an objection comes up, because you haven't got this negative connotation of they won't like me, they're going to think I'm pushy, they're going to think I'm sleazy, because you haven't got this going on in your head, it doesn't even compute. Your conscious signal that you see them folding their arms or giving you a bit of pushback, it doesn't marry up with an unconscious pattern of yours that they're not going to like me. Therefore, there's nothing for it to marry up with. Therefore, it just bounces off you. I hope this is making sense. It might be a bit deep for a YouTube video, but I hope this is making sense to you. So instead, because you've gone into it with, I'm here to serve them, I'm here to help them to buy, I'm not here to pitch to them, I'm here to help them to buy, I'm here to help them make the right decision, just like I used to do with my patients. I know, hey, listen, you take my hand, give me a few months, you'll be back home with your family. It's the same thing with somebody who wants to buy something from you. You know deep down in your heart right now that you've got a great product, you've got a great service, you know you can serve this person, you've got testimonials as long as your arm, you know you can serve this person. So I'm going to do everything I can on this call to help them to buy. It's the same for me. Listen, when I'm talking to you guys and asking you guys to come and work with me, I'm not begging you. I'm telling you, hey, listen, just give me a shot. Speak to me. Let me see what your challenges are. If I can help you, I will. If I can't, I'll tell you I can't. But one thing I will tell you is I have case studies and testimonials of people that I've helped get out some tricky situations in sales, and I've helped them to sell without actually selling, without using scripts, go on to make millions in revenue off the back of my training. I've had people retire their freaking wives. I've had people quit their jobs because they've gone full-time into selling. I'm telling you right now, I know hand on heart, I can help people. So I'm going to do everything I can when I'm on this call. I'm not going to take no BS. I'm not going to, if they push back on me, I'm not going to say, oh my God, that's a rejection. Like I feel so bad about myself. No, because I'm already good with myself. Is this making sense? So I want you to go into sales conversation. I want you to get your reps to work on themselves. Everyone bangs on about mindset. Okay. And here's my bugbear with mindset. Everybody's touching it on a superficial level. Now, I'm not knocking any motivational speaker or any sales coach out there who motivates and pumps people up. But please understand, most of it is surface level. For example, if you constantly have to watch motivational videos and go and hire motivational speakers or go and speak to sales mentors who just pump you up, get you excited, shout at you, scream at you, and tell you that you're a piece of shit if you don't go and do X, Y, Z, blah, blah. If you have to rely on that all the time, then you are setting yourself up for failure. Let me explain why. Because that's external motivation. You see, external motivation wears off. It wears off. Because you can't, like, the minute you leave that event, the minute that speaker goes, the minute you turn off that YouTube video, the minute you do that, as much as you might feel pumped up and excited for a moment, it starts to wean off. And then you need another hit like a freaking crack addict, right? Making sense? So it's external motivation. So external motivation, it wears off. Internal motivation pays off. There's a big difference. So when I'm motivating people, yes, I will give you the motivational talk, but I'm going to give you the psychology below it, the neuroscience below it, to help you actually make it stick. I'm going to get inside your head in a way that no other person can get inside your head. And the reason I do that is so that it bloody sticks. I don't want you to create a codependency with me. I don't want you to need me all the time. I don't want you to constantly want to Jess and fix every time you're going through a bad time. No, I want you to have the skill that you've got so that you can go and do it on your own. I don't like creating codependencies. I'm a big believer in teach someone to fish rather than give them a fish. Is this making sense? Most trainers out there, most motivational speakers out there, they need you to constantly pay them. They need you to constantly feed into them. Look, I don't need all of that. I want you to win, plain and simple. So what I want you to start doing is going back to your sales team, or if you're a salesperson right now, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and I want you to identify what are some of the unconscious patterns that I'm potentially bringing in to my sales call. Am I not really good with myself? Am I telling everyone I'm confident, but deep down I'm not? Am I wearing a mask? Am I actually secretly someone who likes to avoid conflict, likes to avoid judgment, likes to avoid confrontation, likes to avoid feeling rejected or abandoned or whatever it is, because I don't like it? If that's the case, then I'm telling you now, that's showing up in your sales call, and that's why most reps are actually quitting before they even close, because they're reading these unconscious signals and going, man, like, this person doesn't like me, then I'm going to buy. And then you start taking your foot off the gas. You don't really give it enough effort and you put the phone down onto the next one. And before you know it, one bad day turns into one bad week turns into one bad month turns to one bad quarter turns into a whole bad year. And that's not cool. So look, if you want to get help with this, my guess is that you're someone who wants to accelerate your sales career, or you want to grow in sales in your business, you want to grow your sales team, you want to take your revenue to a next level and beyond. Look, I'm not here to jazz stuff up. I don't really like teaching people with scripts. I don't really like making people follow all of these different structures and frameworks or all of that. I give you some kind of structure, but one thing that I want you to understand is the only way you're going to get better at selling is if you become a better conversationalist and you work on learning human behavior and human psychology. Now, like I said, I'm a former psychiatric nurse turned entrepreneur, speaker, and trainer. I've trained people all across the world, and I'd love the opportunity to help you with this stuff, because look, I'm telling you now, of course I'm being biased. I'm going to sell myself right now. I'm being biased. There is nobody that I am aware of on this planet right now in the sales training space that has the credentials and the background and the knowledge that I have. And look, it's not just about my knowledge, because at the end of the day, who cares about my knowledge? What you care about is results. And all I'm saying is, all you got to do is go and look at all of the case studies of people that I've worked with. People that have worked for me for 6 days and gone and made £30,000 of extra sales the next day. People that have worked for me for a couple of months and gone and made $365,000 in 3 days pitching their products and services to people. People who've taken their company from 800,000 turnover a year to over 40 million a year in the space of a few short years implementing the stuff that I'm teaching. Look, I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to help you. If you've got a problem and you want it solved, and you want to do it in a way that happens quickly without you having to study a lot, and just taking what you already know and understanding human behavior, understanding yourself, becoming a better conversationalist, let's have a conversation, okay? So somewhere around this video or in notes or the description, there'll be a link for you to click to book a meeting with me and my team so we can have a conversation about you or your sales team or how you want to grow your business. Alternatively, if you just comment the word sales below this video, we will reach out to you and look at how we can have a conversation, because conversations cost nothing. They don't, okay? And unlike a lot of people when you jump on these calls where they're trying to hard pitch you, we're not interested in that. Look, I know my stuff works, and I also know who it works for. There are certain people it doesn't work for, and there are certain people that I know are just going to smash it, and we will know that straight away. And if we can't help you, we'll just give you some advice and send you on your way. If we can help you, we'll talk to you about how I can maybe train your team or train you or work with you one-to-one, or you can join one of our mentorship programs. Look, we have lots of various options, okay? All it takes is having a conversation first. And remember, you're in sales. You want people to speak to you. So be the change you want to see. Come and speak to me. So comment sales down below or click on the link in the description, and hopefully we'll get a chance to work together. But other than that, take this video, watch it again if you have to, work on yourself, work on being a great conversationalist. Don't carry some crap from your past into your sales conversations, because you quit too soon. And when you quit too soon, you don't get the close. Start doing this now, you'll make more money. I'll speak to you soon.